in a tragic suicide.
Some people who were dying in workshops or shortly after workshops, they were all cremated afterwards without any investigation, so that no record is available for the public.
Those who manage to survive the process seem to exist in a state of euphoria, a mental land of Oz presided over by a beneficent wizard.
He has, through his therapy and through the meditations, found a way to make his followers dependent on him on a psychological level. So the power he has over people is a deep psychic dependency.
Rajneesh says his goal is to create a new man, one who is happily mindless. Adoring sannyasins continued to stream into the Pune ashram to have their minds erased and to leave their money at the feet of the master. A never-ending river of dollars, pounds, and marks flowed into the coffers of the Rajneesh Foundation, a charitable entity set up to protect the ashram from paying taxes. Rajneesh lives well, even for a god.
And Bhagwan says, I'm a very simple man. I like best of everything.
I believe in luxury. If I cannot make everybody to live in luxury, at least I can manage to live myself.
While new cars may be symbolic of a guru's success, his most precious possessions are his disciples. Everything possible is done to ensure their continued devotion. To strengthen the group identity, sannyasins are required at all times to dress in approved shades of red and to wear a mala, a beaded necklace bearing a medallion with a photograph of Rajneesh in it. Old names are discarded, and they are given new names to further disassociate them from their past. Sannyasins are encouraged to break all ties with former friends and family. A new instant family stands ready to replace them. Breaking with the family may seem hard, but it's a major Rajneesh theme.
I teach the commune, not the family. The family is the unit of the nations, of the state, of the church, of all that is ugly.
The group's ability to attract the wealthy and gullible has made them a legend in guru circles. Each new disciple is rated for their anticipated future income or political value. A prize catch for Rajneesh is Stuart Kirkpatrick, whose mother is Jean Kirkpatrick, former United States ambassador to the United Nations. The wealthy and the children of the wealthy who have trust funds are pressed to make large donations. Others, like Shannon Joe Ryan, are used to solicit political support. Shannon Joe Ryan's father, Congressman Leo Ryan, was murdered at Jonestown. Today, as Ma Amrita Pritam, she seems oblivious to any similarity between her master and Jim Jones. Her description of Rajneesh is chilling to those who heard the residents of Jonestown speak of their master.
It's hard to describe what he is. I just love him so much. I can see through him existence in a different way that I didn't understand it before. Just incredible beauty. I just feel it when he's around, and I just want to be near him. I'd do anything that he asked me to.
Hank Hanegraaff is the president of the Christian Research Institute, headquartered in Southern California. I asked him to discuss some of the secrets of mind control. We hear of the persuasive talents of mass mind controllers like Adolf Hitler, Jim Jones, and Bhagwan Shree Rajneesh. How do you define such mind control?
First of all, a cult will control a person's life in virtually every single dimension. An individual or a group of individuals control what a person does. They control what they do, they control what they believe, they control what they even say. In a theological standpoint, a cult leader will control what an individual believes. In other words, they will do the thinking for the individual as opposed to the individual doing the thinking for themselves.
The guru in Oregon, Rajneesh, how do you think he had the power to manipulate the mass of followers that he had?
Well, he sets himself first up as an authoritarian figure. He sets himself up as not only a spokesman for God, but in fact a God. And so people look to him as an authority figure. People want to look to an authority. They want to be controlled to some degree, but he controls them through a number of different means. All these false prophets do in one way or another. They control you by manipulation. They do massive miracles which make them appear as though they have God's power. Many times they're literally being used by demonic forces, but through these miracles they set themselves up as an example, as an authority, as a spokesman for God. They also control people through the whole concept of fear. They, bottom line, get the goods on people. And if you want to get out of the control of these masters, what you have to do is try to leave and still be able to leave with your dignity intact, which is very difficult to do because they begin to know everything about you. And the minute you want to leave, they begin to say, if you leave, we've got some things that we can say.
How is mind control used? And do you think it is being used to condition the masses today?
Well, I think it is to some degree. Mind control is being used to condition people to believe that they, in fact, are God. The twin doctrines of the New Age movement, for example, are that you are God and you control your own reality. The other way in which mind control is being used is that people are being conditioned to believe that someone is going to appear on the world scene. And this person is going to be able to bring together a state of utopia for Earth. We hear today, for example, of a new world order. We even hear George Bush talking about it. Now, I'm not thinking about this in a conspiratorial sense, but I am thinking about it in the sense that George Bush and many who follow this whole concept of a new world order believe that one day we are going to be able to eradicate terrorism. We're going to be able to eradicate problems within the world of all kinds. There no longer will be the renegade nations involved in the world. We're going to be able to control all of that through a new world order. And we're going to have peace among men. Well, the Bible says the exact opposite. It says that this conditioning, where we will expect a great leader, will happen, but it will not produce peace among men. The only time that there will be a new world order is when Jesus Christ establishes that, so that new order, which we're being conditioned for now, is not going to be established in this world, but in the world to come.
No person is immune to mind control. Christians, unfortunately, are just as susceptible as non-Christians. According to recent reports, a sizable proportion of those involved in cults or extremist groups come from some type of an evangelical background.
Life at the ranch was not the loving, laughing, dancing utopia described in the press releases.
They are so tightly controlled. They are not allowed to have private telephone conversations.
The people that are in the lower class, which most of the people on the ranch are in that category, if they want to leave, they couldn't leave because they don't have enough money to go home on. They're like a slave.
They've been extricated from any ties with friends or family on the outside. So it's very terrifying to them to have to leave there because economically and emotionally they are bankrupt without Rajneesh Puram.
If you were in the hierarchy on the ranch, you got to dress in brand new clothes. You got the best of everything. And if you were a laborer, in my opinion, you got treated like a dog.
It was my first experience of being like in a communist state where people have to work long, arduous hours from 12 to 18 hours a day, no days off. They have very crowded working conditions and living conditions. There's no time for questioning any policy.
Most of the people on the ranch, the working class, were forever breaking down. They were mentally fatigued. They just couldn't keep up with the constant pressure. You know, either do good or you're going to have to leave. We got to get this done, do it, and be positive. If you're negative, we can't put up with that.
Sheila has a different picture of life and work at the ranch.
The work has been made into worship. Here at the ranch, we work sometimes 20 hours a day. And still, at the end of the day, we are laughing, having a good time.
If the worshipful sannyasin is not having a good time, he had better keep it to himself.
They had a very intricate spy system among themselves on the ranch. We referred to them as snitches. They'd relate back to Sheila if you said any little thing wrong, because they didn't like negativity getting started. They didn't like rumors. Therefore, the more you told on people, it seemed like the higher up in the scale you went. If you were in the higher group on the ranch and you wanted to have sex with somebody that was just a commoner on the ranch, a laborer, and they refused, they could get in trouble for that because it would be being negative. So it was either put up or get out.
Few sannyasins question the authority of the ashram hierarchy. Overwork and poor nutrition combine to create a docile and submissive workforce. But the Rajneesh system goes one step further. This is called dynamic meditation. This violent frenzy continues on and on, creating a mind-altering form of hyperventilation. Wild movement alternates with periods of utter stillness. Done with regularity, techniques such as this can dull the critical thought process for extended periods of time. We are witnessing a key step in the creation of the Rajneesh ideal, the mindless man.
Some of the people, they go into a trance. They lose all connection with anybody else. When Bhagwan goes by, some of them actually pass out. I mean, some of them jump up and down, and most of them start bawling. Some of the people on the ranch they're like they're crazy. They wander around, they look like a zombie most of the time.
You have to understand, people are not spacing out on drugs or alcohol or any hallucins. They're just happy. They're just overwhelmed.
It's so frustrating to me to hear somebody say that they're not concerned for the people there because all they have to do is walk out if they want to. People don't realize the power, the magnitude of mind control, that these people are made to feel that they're worthless, that they can't make it on the outside world. They're totally dependent on Rajneesh.
You mentioned earlier that today's conditioning was based more on experience rather than doctrine. Could you explain that?
We hear about a concept called esotericism, and that is the belief that reality can be reduced to a personal experience of enlightenment. This is information that is being given to us through sources which most often are demonic, because Satan ultimately wants us to encounter him and think we're in touch with the living God. What we're talking about is a counterfeit conversion.
What weaknesses would you say today foster apostasy in the church?
I think one of the primary weaknesses that fosters apostasy in the church is the whole concept of revelation, knowledge, and experience. In other words, information, first of all, that bypasses the mind or the cognitive